All right, so you know how we love getting right to the heart of really fascinating stuff?
Yeah.
Well, today we are diving into a pretty cool development,
Okay.
a brand new microgrid energy sharing platform.
Sounds interesting already.
We're going to break down exactly what that means in just a second, but
Yeah.
this is all based on some info from a press release
Right.
about the platform.
Mm-hmm.
So we're basically on a mission to extract the core insights
Gotcha.
and really understand why this is such a big deal,
I'm all for it.
especially for anyone who's, interested in the future of energy,
Absolutely.
how we power our communities.
Totally.
So, okay, let's start with the basics.
Yeah. What is it?
What exactly is a microgrid energy sharing platform?
Yeah.
I mean, the name kind of gives it away a little bit. It's
Sure.
basically like,
Okay.
imagine if your neighborhood
Mm-hmm.
had its own mini power grid,
Yeah.
right? So homes
Okay.
and businesses,
Local businesses. Right?
local businesses all connected.
Sure.
They can share, trade, and even store renewable energy
Interesting.
directly with each other,
Directly.
peer to peer.
Yeah.
And the really interesting part is
What's that?
this whole thing is
Yeah.
powered by blockchain technology.
Okay. I see where this is going.
Right.
Yeah. This is about decentralization.
It is.
Right. So instead of
Right.
relying on this massive centralized grid.
Yeah, the one we all know and sometimes love.
Right. Exactly. We're talking about smaller interconnected energy hubs
Yeah.
within a community.
Yeah. It's like taking power back into your own hands.
In a way, yeah.
Right.
Giving more local control.
Right.
And yeah, resilience, I think, is a big part of it.
Huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially these days.
That brings us to the why.
Yeah, the big why.
Right. What problems is this platform actually trying to solve? I mean,
Right.
we're talking about some really big issues here.
We are.
I think the first one that jumps out at me is energy inequality.
Yeah. Making sure that everyone has access.
Everyone has access.
Yeah. Not just the people who can afford,
Right.
the fanciest solar panels or whatever.
Exactly.
It's about leveling the playing field a little bit.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
then there's the whole
And then there's
renewables thing.
renewables.
Right.
It seems like this is
Yeah. How do we
trying to make it easier
make it easier for people
for people to actually use
to use
renewable energy.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's great to have solar panels,
Mm-hmm.
but if you can't share that energy,
Right.
what's the point?
Exactly.
And then
The big one.
the elephant in the room.
The vulnerability.
Yeah, vulnerability
The traditional grid.
of the traditional grid
Yeah.
to
Especially when we're seeing
climate events.
climate events happening more and more often.
More and more often.
Right.
We're talking
Huge disruptions.
huge disruptions.
Yeah.
Power outages.
Mm.
I mean, it's scary.
Scary stuff.
Scary stuff.
Yeah. And the press release really hits on these points.
Duh.
You know, I was reading it and they talk about how this
Mhm.
platform could offer a pathway
Mhm.
to more stability,
Yeah.
especially in areas where, energy reliability is still
A huge challenge.
a major challenge. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a lifeline almost.
Right.
And also for people and small businesses who
Right.
are already generating their own renewable energy,
Mm-hmm.
this gives them a direct way to share and benefit from that excess power, which hasn't always been easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have all this extra energy and you're like,
What do I do with it?
what do I do with it?
Yeah, exactly. And so
this solves that problem.
it's like you said, the frequency
Yeah.
of these
Right.
disruptive weather events, it really underscores
The need for
the need for these localized, resilient solutions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like we're not even talking about the future anymore. It's like this is happening now.
It's happening now.
Like, so
This is really interesting.
what is it?
This platform didn't just sort of
Yeah.
magically appear,
Yeah, where did it come from?
right? It actually came about through something called
Okay.
the EON AI-powered entrepreneur guide.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Have you?
Yeah, I mean, I've read about it.
It's really cool.
It's supposed to be a really cool guide.
So it's designed to help people take an idea,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And turn it into something
Turn
rare.
it into a concrete working solution.
Yeah,
And the entrepreneur behind this microgrid
right.
actually mentioned in the press release
Mm-hmm.
that the guide helped them
Interesting.
to identify specific barriers facing energy producers and consumers.
Wow. So
Sorry?
they really used it
Yeah.
to figure out what the problems were.
Then develop targeted features
Interesting.
to address them.
Very cool.
So it's like a very targeted,
Yeah.
practical approach.
That's fascinating.
Right.
Yeah, the idea of using AI
Right.
to really pinpoint
Yeah.
the needs of
Of both.
Both the people generating and
The
consuming
producers and the consumer.
energy. Yeah.
Right.
And that they were able to develop features
Yeah.
specifically to address those needs.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So who actually benefits from this?
Yeah, good question.
Let's start with the energy producers.
Okay.
Right. So the people
with the solar panels.
with the solar panels on their roofs,
Yeah.
wind turbines,
Mhm.
whatever.
Right.
It sounds like they can actually earn money
Wow.
by selling their extra power
Okay.
to
Yeah.
their neighbors.
That's pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so it's not just about
It's not just about
environmental benefits.
Yes.
It's actually like
an economic incentive.
an economic incentive.
Right.
Yeah, you're making money
You're making money.
from your surplus
You know,
energy.
something that used to just be wasted.
Exactly.
Right.
It's not a loss anymore. It's a revenue stream.
It's a revenue stream.
So it makes those renewable energy investments
Right.
even more attractive.
Even more attractive.
Right.
Absolutely.
Plus, it helps them
Right.
optimize their renewable energy systems.
Yeah, you're squeezing
Squeezing every last drop
every last drop.
of energy out of
Yeah.
it. Right.
Right.
And they get more control over how their battery storage is used.
Right.
So they're not
And
just
not just sitting there.
sitting there
Yeah.
waiting to be used.
They're
They're actively managing it.
actively managing it. Yeah.
And it can even speed up their return on investment.
Right. Because you're getting more out of your system.
More bang for your buck.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. What about the energy consumers?
Okay.
The folks who might not have their own solar panels
Right.
or wind turbines?
The people who are just using energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like they could get more reliable access to power,
Okay.
especially important when the main grid goes down.
Right. Yeah, we talked about those.
Power outages.
Outages, yeah.
Right.
So it's like a backup.
It's like a backup system.
Yeah.
They could also be buying cleaner energy
Right?
directly from people nearby.
Yeah.
So you know where your energy is coming from.
Supporting your neighbors.
Supporting your neighbors.
Yeah.
And maybe even save some money in the process.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a win-win.
that's huge.
Right.
If you can get cleaner energy that's more reliable
Uh-huh.
and potentially save money,
Yeah.
that's a game changer.
It opens up access to renewable energy,
Right.
even if they can't install their own systems.
Yeah. For people who maybe can't afford it
Right.
or don't have the space.
Don't have the space for solar panels.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really democratizing
And democratizing energy.
access to clean energy. Yeah.
All right. Now,
Okay.
zooming out to the community as a whole,
Yeah. The bigger picture.
the bigger picture,
Mhm.
the benefits look even bigger. Okay. How so? We're talking about increased resilience,
Okay.
right? Because essential services can keep running
Right.
during wider power outages.
So the hospital.
The
that's
hospital, the
under-
fire station.
Yeah.
The things we
School
need
essential stuff.
to keep society functioning,
Yeah.
right? And then there's the environmental win
Right.
of using more local clean energy,
Yeah. Reducing that carbon footprint.
reducing the carbon footprint.
Yeah.
And it really boosts energy independence
Right.
by lessening the reliance on those big centralized systems.
Yeah.
It's like taking control
Taking control
of your own destiny
yeah.
a little bit
As a community.
as a community,
Yeah.
right? And then there's the local economic boost.
Right.
The money spent on energy
Yeah.
stays within the community.
She's local.
It's not going
Yeah.
to some big
It's straight
corporation
far off.
power plant.
Power plant. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, when you think about it,
it's pretty cool.
yeah, it really does
It's pretty cool.
strengthen a community's ability to
Yeah.
to weather these disruptions.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like
building a little
building a little
fortress.
around your community.
Yeah.
With energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the focus
I mean,
on
it's sustainable.
local renewables
Yeah.
aligns with the sustainability goals that
Sure.
we're all trying to reach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta save the planet.
You got to save the planet.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
How does this actually work?
The nuts and bolts.
The nuts and bolts.
How do you share energy with your neighbor?
Sharing energy with your neighbor sounds simple enough,
Right.
but what's the tech behind it?
Yeah.
So the press release mentions a blockchain system
Okay.
for transactions.
Right.
Which is super secure.
Secure
Transparent.
and transparent.
Yeah.
Blockchain's good for that.
Right. So we know
Yeah. Everything is on the up and up.
it's all tracked.
It's all tracked.
Yeah.
And then there are smart contracts.
Okay.
So smart contracts
Never heard of those too.
are basically like automated digital agreements
Okay.
that handle the payments and everything.
So it just happens
It's
automatically.
automatic.
Yeah, yeah. You don't have to like call up your neighbor and be like,
Exactly.
hey, I owe you 5 kilowatt hours.
5 kilowatt hours.
It just happens.
It just happens.
Right.
And then we've got the Internet of Things,
The IoT.
IoT,
Yeah.
right, to get real-time info.
So we know what's happening
We know what's happening
on the net.
on the network,
Yeah.
right? Energy production usage,
Oh, that's
all that stuff.
yeah.
And then they're using predictive analytics.
Okay, so we can
Forecast what's going to happen.
what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
Energy needs production.
Right. So we can
And
optimize battery storage across the whole community.
So it's like a
It's a lot.
smart
It's a lot going on.
smart system.
But it's like
Yeah.
it's all working together
Yeah, it's all interconnected.
to make this happen.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing
Right.
how it all fits together.
Yeah. So think of it like this
Okay.
blockchain is like this
Yeah.
super secure
Uh-huh.
digital ledger,
Right.
right?
Keeping track of everything.
Keeping track of all the energy trades.
Yeah.
Right? And then the smart contracts are like
Yeah.
those automated agreements
Right.
that execute those trades
Seamlessly.
seamlessly
Yeah.
without any human intervention.
Without any paperwork.
No paperwork.
Yeah.
And then the IoT devices
Right.
are providing all that real-time data
Yeah.
so we can manage everything efficiently.
Yeah. So
And then the predictive analytics are
Yeah.
like the brains of the operation,
the brain's trying to anticipate what's going to happen
anticipating
and
how to best allocate resources.
yeah,
And that includes
including
battery management
the batteries
across the whole community.
Yeah.
So
It's a smart grid.
it's a smart grid.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
How does this platform
Yeah.
sustain itself?
Right. How does it make money?
How does it make money?
Yeah.
So it sounds like they take a small transaction fee,
Okay.
maybe 2 to 3%,
Right.
on the energy that's exchanged.
So every time
Every time
energy changes hands,
they take a little cut,
they get a little bit.
a little bit,
Okay.
right? And then they also have
Oh,
different
nice.
subscription levels,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
With extra features,
Different tiers.
different tiers,
Yeah.
right? If you need more,
Right. If you need more, you pay more.
you pay more.
Yeah.
And they also offer services for setting up
Okay.
the necessary hardware.
So the smart meters,
Smart meter,
devices.
IoT devices.
Yeah. Making sure everything's
Making sure everything's connected,
hooked up.
hooked up.
Yeah.
And they even have complete packages for creating new microgrids
Oh, wow.
from scratch.
So if you're a community,
If you're a community and you're like,
you want to get in,
get in on this,
they'll set you up.
they'll set you up.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
So
So it's not just a software platform.
it's not just software.
It's like a whole
package.
ecosystem. Yeah. A whole ecosystem.
Right.
Yeah. I like that.
I mean, it's a pretty
That's a smart business model.
smart business model.
Yeah. Because the transaction fees,
Yeah.
that's a direct revenue stream
Right.
tied to how much the platform's being used.
The more it's used,
The more they make.
the more they make.
Right. And then the subscriptions,
Yeah.
that's recurring revenue.
Right.
So that's good for stability.
It's stability.
Yeah. And then the hardware and setup,
Yeah.
that's addressing a real need,
A real need.
right? Because someone's got to
Yes, someone's got to do it. Install all this stuff.
install it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Correct.
they have a plan for rolling this out.
I was going to ask about that.
You were going to ask about that.
Yeah.
They're starting with pilot communities
Yeah.
within the next 4 months,
So pretty soon.
pretty soon.
Yeah.
Right?
So they're not just
They've got targets
acting about it.
for energy transactions,
Actually doing it.
doing it,
Yeah.
and users
In the first year.
in the first year.
Okay.
And then they have bigger plans for expanding across different areas.
So it's a phased
It's a phased
rollout.
rollout.
Yeah.
Right?
That's smart.
And that seems really important for showing that this can actually work.
Right. Yeah.
You get in the real world,
You got to start somewhere.
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. And you got to test it out
Test it out.
and make sure it works.
Make sure it works.
Yeah. And you got
Like
to
feedback
before you go big.
from real people.
Right.
Yeah. And it looks
It's
like
a smart approach.
they have specific targets.
Yeah.
So they can measure their success.
Measure their success.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
No, what about the practical challenges?
Uh-huh.
Right? I mean,
The real world is messy.
the real world is messy.
Yeah.
Right? Different areas have different energy regulations,
Right.
and not everyone is a tech expert.
Yeah. Not everyone's a
Yeah.
computer scientist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they've thought about that too,
Okay. Yeah.
right? They have tools to help with regulatory compliance.
Right.
They have a user-friendly interface,
So it's easy to use.
easy to use.
Yeah.
They're allowing communities to start small,
Okay.
right? You don't have to go all in right away.
You can dip your toes in.
Dip your toes in,
Yeah.
right? And they put security measures in place.
Okay. That's important.
Very important,
Yeah.
yeah. They even have simulation tools to test things out beforehand.
So they can run simulations.
Run simulations.
Yeah.
And see what happens
See what happens before they actually
before they deploy it.
deploy it in the real world.
Yeah.
That's smart.
So it sounds like they're trying to
Yeah, they're trying
get ahead of
Yeah.
the potential hurdles,
the problems.
the problems.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's really important for adoption,
It is.
right? Because if it's too complicated,
Yeah.
people aren't going to use it.
No one's going to use it.
And if it's not secure,
Yeah.
that's a huge problem,
That's a huge problem.
especially when we're talking about energy.
Critical infrastructure.
Critical infrastructure, yeah.
Okay.
Let's step back.
Yeah.
look at the bigger picture.
Okay.
Where does this microgrid energy sharing platform fit in?
Where does it fit into the world?
Into the world.
Yeah. But it feels like
it's tapping into some really big trends.
Some really big trends, yeah.
Right. Giving more control over energy to individuals and communities.
To the people.
To the people.
Yeah.
Right.
Empowering
people.
Yeah.
It's definitely part of the move towards renewable energy.
Absolutely. Right. I mean, it's all about...
We're seeing that everywhere.
Renewables. Yeah.
And with climate change,
right,
becoming such a huge issue, building stronger, more resilient communities is becoming more and more important.
Oh, more important. Right. We got to be able to
bounce back. From these
storms.
From the storms, from the floods.
Yeah.
From the fires.
Yeah.
And this is a great
example of how
AI and blockchain can be used to create solutions.
Yeah. Real solutions to real problems.
Yeah. So we're talking about you hit on all the
democratization of energy, right? Giving power to the people.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
Right. And the growth of renewable energy adoption.
Yeah, we need
new ways.
New ways to manage and distribute.
All
that renewable energy.
Yeah. And then the importance of community resilience in the face of climate change.
It's essential. Yeah.
And then just this whole idea of using cutting-edge technologies
to drive
positive change.
Yeah.
And EON Reality.
Who are they?
The company behind this.
Yeah.
They're really focused on using AI and VRR for knowledge transfer.
Yeah.
So it's like they're taking that core expertise and applying it to a very real problem.
To energy.
Yeah. So it's not just about
tech
for tech's sake.
Tech for tech's sake.
Yeah.
It's about using tech to solve problems.
Yeah, to make a difference.
Yeah.
In the world.
Yeah.
So I think the main takeaway here is that this platform,
this
microgrid platform, looks like a really significant step.
A big step.
Towards helping communities become more energy independent. And resilient. And by using technology to enable that direct sharing.
Of renewable energy.
Mm-hmm. It's offering a new and potentially powerful approach.
Yeah. I mean, it's a new way
to some of the major energy challenges we face.
Of thinking about energy.
Right.
Yeah.
So for you listening, this is a glimpse into a future.
Into the future of energy.
Where energy could be more localized, more sustainable, and more under the control of communities.
Of the people.
Yeah. And with that in mind, here's something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
What could be the broader long-term effects of these kinds of decentralized systems?
Yeah. Right.
On the big utility companies.
The big guys.
Yeah. And the energy infrastructure we currently rely on.
Yeah. Because this is...
Right, because this is...
a whole different model.
Yeah. And could a model like this... offer solutions to some of the energy challenges?
You see in your own community.
In your own community.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Right.
To think about.
Definitely food for thought.
So
think about it.
Yeah.
And let us know what you think.
We'd love to hear from you.
All right. That's it for today.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.